Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Lewis.
Welcome to the Rangers Journal.
Good evening, Bears. Welcome to the Rangers Journal, your post-match reaction to tonight's 2-0 victory against Aberdeen at Ibrox. From calamitous corners to set-piece perfection, we put in the most routine of routine victories, which was very nice to see. Still room for improvement, but lots of good things to talk about. And here to join me to have a quick discussion about them, first of all, as welcome in Stevie. Hi, Stevie. How you doing?
Evening, lads. I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And yourself, Colin?
Good evening, guys. Good evening to everyone watching. Yeah, good start to the new year, eh? On a roll.
That it has been. Always good to start with two victories. And just to add a third bit of good news, I'm very happy to welcome Gordon Shannon to the membership of the channel. Thank you very much, Gordon, for joining us. Hopefully you'll enjoy your membership. We do put out extra material for members, a couple of videos, hopefully, each week. So thank you very much for joining. As we say, we're very grateful to anyone who's able to go that extra mile and donate to the channel. Every little helps to pay for some of those expensive prescriptions that give us all those bits of data and all that stats and all that kind of fun stuff that I enjoy. Juicy Bear, welcome to yourself. I am indeed back. I've not been on, I think it's almost 2 weeks, I think, maybe, which is unheard of for me usually. So it's good to be back and back here. It's not a joke. It's just a coincidence, I promise. But well done for that joke there, new guy. Stevie, as I said, I think that was a fairly routine victory. We were dominant from pretty much minute 1 to minute 90. Aberdeen did have, I think, one or two sort of chances in the first half, largely from our own errors, but they were unable to do much with them. They very much looked like a team lacking in confidence. Obviously, they've just lost their manager after a poor run. But I thought the team, without really having a huge cutting edge in our open play. Overall, though, I thought the team played pretty well. We had some good passages of play throughout. And like I say, it looked fairly comfortable and fairly routine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think first half in particular was really pleasing. There's a kind of fluidity about the team. They've got a structure now, but they've also developed this fluidity where they can really seem to interchange and get up their tempo at any minute. I know Aberdeen had the two chances, but yeah, overall, I felt really... I enjoyed watching that game of football, especially the first 45 minutes. It was really good to watch. Played some cracking stuff. A lot of guys really on it for the first whistle, which is what you want. Obviously, making use of the set pieces, like capitalising, plenty of strengths. It was really enjoyable. And to me, following up after Saturday was key, because so many times, in the last few years, we've almost caught up to them, we've almost been able to put pressure on, and then we fall flat on our face, and it's a huge blow. Whereas tonight, we've got a regulation 2-0 victory, clean sheet, solid performance, just done exactly what we needed to do, and we put the pressure back on them now. So, yeah, honestly, I couldn't be any happier with that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Stevie hits on a good point there, Colin. As I say, following up on the game against Celtic, it's all fine and well to win these big matches, which on occasion we have done, but so often we've dropped points in the sort of games outside of those ones. You see, it was a professional performance tonight. I think pretty much everyone played reasonably well to some degree. Maybe some of the subs could have been a little bit more exciting, but it puts us into second, so that puts the pressure on the other two moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with you both. I think it was the ideal performance on the back of Saturday because, like Suter said in the post-match press conference on Saturday evening, if you don't go and back it up, it's pointless winning these big games. So it was a perfect performance. Obviously, on the back of Saturday, it was such an intense fixture, obviously energy sapping, such an emotional game. So I think tonight, like Stevie said, it was a professional performance. Got the goals. Ideal getting goals from set pieces, not having to rely on opening up a team that, we're always going to sit behind the ball and make it difficult for us and sit deep. And yeah, you look at it, 2 goals at home, clean sheet. We could argue, we'll always want more. The last half an hour, I think we were just, kind of just seeing time out. But yeah, it was a professional performance and exactly what we needed on the back of Saturday. So long may it continue. It'll be a totally different game on Sunday up there, but we did exactly what we needed to do and ticked another win off the board.
That's it, and hopefully we just can continue to do that. Stevie, if we start off, we'll chat just quickly about the lineup. There was 2 changes from the previous game. Asgard came out and Diomande came in, which I think is thoroughly deserved based on his performance against Celtic. And Sterling came out for the team and Tavernier came in. I think I know some people did mention it could have been on the back of the incident that occurred with Sterling, but I think probably mostly it was largely just managing his minutes. I think that's something we're probably going to see, in my opinion, throughout the rest of the season, to be honest, sort of the rotation between Sterling and Tavernier and maybe some of the other defenders as well, obviously later in the game. It's actually Suter that comes off for Sterling. So Danny Rose seems to be quite comfortable in sort of making these rotations and little adjustments to keep players fresh, with the high rotation of games that we have.
Yeah, excuse me, he's done a phenomenal job. Just every aspect of what he does is impressing me, for the way he's brought the team on. As you said, rotating the players. Sterling's definitely needing managed. I was delighted to see him at the weekend quickly, a right back, but he's making those like 70-yard runs and you're thinking, God, don't get injured again. So comes on the night, goes in at centre back, he's really managing particularly well. But yeah, I think that team, most of us would have agreed with, given the circumstances. So yeah, no complaints there. And started really well. So yeah, I thought it was an excellent team selection. And I think as well, with the team that finished, I'm wondering if he's maybe sending a message to the board. The subs that came on, Danilo, Asgard, to me, those guys aren't quite good enough. So maybe he's like, we're weakened when these guys come on. I think that's pretty clear. I know subs like disrupt games anyway, but the quality that's coming on needs to be better. I know there's a few arguments for Cameron. I've been banging that drum all season, but I think that's gone now. Pretty much have to just put that one to bed. But yeah, I think he's sending a slight message to the board to say we need reinforcements because we do need a bit more strength and depth.
Yeah, Colin, I think that point to me is the main thing that, other than obviously the good side, which is the victory, a clean sheet, everyone played relatively well. There was no real calamitous moments. I do think the other big thing that comes out of that is there is sort of two points around that sort of issue. There is enough there to build on, in my opinion. It's not a team that necessarily needs, or a squad that needs, an absolute rebuild, although given our loans it will in due course. But in terms of January, it does look like a team that if we can get, 3 or 4 players, which is the rumoured kind of number we're aiming for, that could make up all the difference to that team. I think, there's discussions about whether or not we should bring in defenders, and I think you can make arguments around that. Although our defence, as much as I think we feel it's terrible, it's actually sitting there as I can't remember if we're still the best defence in the league, but if we're not, it's 1 or 2. So the defence has actually been pretty good all in. But when I looked at that game tonight, I really was looking at that going, a striker, 1 or 2 more creative players just to add that little extra, because it was that little extra that I think stopped that game from being a 4-0 win rather than a 2-0 one.
Yeah, absolutely. Stevie's touching it there about Danny Rose since he came in. He's been seriously impressive in every aspect of what he does. Obviously, his coaching, he's getting through to the players. His team selections, spot on almost every game. Comes across really well in the media. Never listen to a press conference where I don't think, I don't agree with everything he says. I just feel like I'm nodding at everything he says. But the main thing he's done is he's gone back to basics and he's decided to build this team from the back. Something that we've been drumming on about for months, especially at the start of the season with the number of goals that we're conceding. So it's absolutely miraculous that we've got the best defensive record at this stage of the season after the calamitous start. But you do see tonight, Doug, you touched on it there. I'm looking at that game. So many times we played short, Aberdeen start pressing, we get through the first line of the press into midfield, and then it just looks, it's not fluid at all. Now, I think we have to get a left back in. Makoma hasn't been rotated out much at all. I know Sterling could probably go out there. Max Aarons can go out there. That's fine. But a left back has to be a priority. But I agree with you, Doug. I think there's a question now about the midfield. Raskin was named man of the match tonight. I think for me he was outstanding, but I thought Connor Barron was right up there alongside him. And if you've got if you've got two of your midfielders being in the conversation for man of the match, probably over the last 3 games, you're going to have a great chance of winning games because that's where the games are won and lost, in the middle of the pack. But definitely need to strengthen up front. I mean, Miovski, for me, I know the game was probably won in the sense, we were 2 up and we weren't really under any pressure, but Miovski and Asgard, like you mentioned, Danilo, they're not going to be able to contribute what we need. So I think, I can't remember which one of the two you mentioned it, I think there may be an element of Danny Rose saying to the board, look, we've managed to get us back into this title race. You now need to give me the tools to push us to where we need to get to. So that is going to take 3 or 4 players. Let's see.
Absolutely. So touching on the game, it was didn't have to wait too long until we got our first goal, coming at just about the 10-minute mark. The corner swung in from Connor Barron, who got the first of 2 assists this evening. I saw a lot of criticism of his corners from the previous game, and so he was back on quite a few of them, even though I thought quite interesting, maybe not a point for right now, but although Tavernier was on the pitch, he didn't actually seem to take very many set pieces this evening. Magoma was taking some and Barron was taking some. There was a bit of a mix. So we're getting our money's worth perhaps from Scott Fry there. But yeah, he swings in a lovely ball just right into the mix, into the sort of centre spot there, and Fernandez does what he has been doing, and which has just been much bigger than everyone else, Stevie. And it's an easy header for him, and he knocks it in for 1-0.
Yeah, he's almost unplayable. I mean, you get a good delivery and he's winning that header pretty much every time. I expect him to get another half a dozen goals this season easily. If we keep delivering like that, he will continue to score goals. I know he can switch off when he's about to, he can get a heart attack or 2 during the game, but he had a brilliant kind of saving tackle as well near the end there. So yeah, he's a tremendous raw talent. So really excited to see him develop at Rangers because, we've missed that kind of dominant, brute force centre half for a long time. We've now got that in this young guy. So yeah, he was, brilliant finish. Does exactly what he's supposed to do. Delighted for a lad just again, and he's starting to get a bit more consistent with that. So playing beside Suter and Sterling, that's obviously helping, as opposed to Jigger. I don't know if we'll see him again, to be fair, but yeah, you can see the consistency starting to come into his game. The more he plays with more experienced players, great finish.
I did see someone in the comments saying that his country are being knocked out of AFCON tonight. So if that's the case, we may well see him soon. So we'll see what happens there. Colin, towards the end of December, I had a wee back and forth with someone on Twitter, unsurprisingly, about Tavernier. And he tweeted me this evening on the back end of that tweet, going, and I'm pretty certain that it was meant to be in this tone, going, oh, I guess Manny Fernandez must be the best player in the team now because he's top scorer and a defender. But I read that and I was about to sort of send my wee reply, but then I sort of stopped and went, well, actually, he is becoming one of the best players in the team. His defending is improving. There are still moments. As Stevie said, he's still raw, but he had some really good interceptions tonight. Obviously, he's added yet another goal. I completely agree with Stevie. I think he'll get another few goals before the end of the season. The first defender we've had in a while that'll probably end with maybe possibly getting towards double figures even. Because I think he's on 4 now. So, if he ends the season with 8, 9, 10 goals, that's a great haul from a defender. He is becoming, I think, one of the sort of, if maybe not the first 1, 2, or 3, but maybe top your first handful on your team sheet.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I don't think any of us are shocked that you're getting in an argument with anybody about Tavernier, Doug. But yes, Fernandez he surprised me. I have to hold my hands up. The last time I was on, Doug, was probably about a month ago. Been even longer since I've been on. And I was saying then, that Manny Fernando is arguably our worst pound for pound signing in the summer. He was worse than Chermiti. Got to hold your hands up. Delight, more than happy to do so and say completely wrong, because he's got a run of games in the team. He's got a manager that's made simplified things for him and for all the players. And perhaps the change to a back three, I know we didn't play that tonight, but perhaps the change to a back three in some games has helped him settle in as well. Certainly having maybe Suter beside him, a more experienced head, communicating, won't have done him any harm either. But you look at him and he's got absolutely all the physical attributes that you would be looking for in a centre half. But we said that in the summer when he arrived. He's got the physique, he's got the height, he should be an imposing figure in both boxes. The question was, his concentration levels. The Peterborough fans were telling us that, he switches off in games. I think, down that left-hand side on Saturday, first half against Celtic, himself and Macoma really, really struggled. And they seemed to adapt in the second half and were much more solid. But I agree with you, Doug. When we're talking about rotating players of the team, I'd worry about taking Fernandes out now, because I think he needs to keep playing and learning. And yeah, he's delivering. Like Stevie said, every time that ball goes into the opposition box, you're looking at him and keeping an eye on his movement, because he seems to be a magnet to the ball. So it's a real asset for us. And just touching on what you were saying there about Conor Barron, I watched the game with my dad, and he saw Conor Barron going over to take the first corner, and he's said, what on earth's going on here? Because Barron's deliveries weren't that good on Saturday against Celtic. But fair play to him. I think almost every single one tonight from both sides, from himself and Macoma, were absolutely on the money. So that's always going to give us a better chance to score goals. But I agree with you, Doug. I think Fernandes is one of the first names in the team sheet now. And I'll also hold my hands up, even though we're not talking about him yet. Chermiti, I've been probably one of his biggest critics. And it's only a handful of games, but he's certainly starting to show what he can do. So perhaps a lesson there for us all as Rangers fans, not to rule out players too soon.
Yes, absolutely. PVC making a good point as well about the coaches. They've had more time with some of these players. That we are seeing improvements over time, not just in Fernandes, but with a number of players throughout the team who've improved over time. We've talked about Mikey Moore previously and his improvements. So, part of the package, I think, getting minutes, getting consistency, winning games, boosting confidence, all these things coming together. So, Stevie, it wasn't until just before half-time, around about 40 minutes, we managed to get the second. Again, another lovely corner swung in from Conor Barron, second assist for him. And this one in particular, whereas in the first one, he sort of just drops it into position and Manny's just has to jump up and head it. This one is a lovely cross-box run from sort of deep across, and Raskin he's not quite front post, but he's almost there. But he's all on his own. He's basically just run. He's been totally left. Easy header, easy goal.
It was good. Good delivery, good header, but really was pathetic defending from Aberdeen. I mean, if that had been our defending, actually that was our defending earlier in the season, to be fair. You'd be pulling your hair out. So yeah, just again, making it count. Like, we're up there, we've got the pressure right before half time. Perfect time to score. I can agree with you what you said earlier. I really wanted us to go on and maybe get a couple more in the second half, just boost the goal difference. But ultimately we saw it out, which is great. Clean sheet, I'm happy with that. But yeah, I'm delighted for Barron. I've not mentioned him yet. To me, he was the man of the match. I thought he was just, again, same as Saturday, just outstanding. You watch him, the way he presses, and he basically is organising all the time. I think he's becoming more of a leader under Rowe. I really do. I think he's really, you've seen Fernandes be one of the first names. Conor Barron is the first name on that team sheet right now. He's so good. Proper organiser, leader. And maybe that's what Danny Rowe's going to do. Maybe he's going to create leaders in that dressing room. That's my hope. Because again, it's something that we've lacked for a few years, and Scotland international as well. Really tremendous performance. But good set piece, good finish. And Raskin, he's done that a few times for a wee guy. It's really good to be said.
You can do that. And just to stay with you for a moment, I've got a comment here. A standing ovation from Chermiti. I thought again, he didn't get on the score sheet today, but he was really solid in his hold-up play in particular. Won a lot of won a lot of balls. He seemed really up for getting into the combativeness of the game with the Aberdeen players, and Just another all-round solid performance from a player that, again, like Fernandez, is going from strength to strength at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that about winning these battles. Every single player just now, they look so up for it. They look so motivated to win their one-on-ones, which is a huge part of the game. But again, something we've lacked for a long time. But his hold-up play in the first half was, even when it wasn't like a clean pass off, he was still finding the blue jersey. He was keeping it, keeping possession, and really using his physicality. Like Colin, I need to hold my hands up. I thought he was hopeless a month or two ago. But again, he's had a run of games. He's getting coached. He's improving, and he's looking like a really good player. So really happy to prove wrong on that one. But yeah, he did well for his hour. Absolutely.
Yes, I'll never be upset to be proved wrong if a player goes from crap to greatness. I'm all for that. Colin, I held off coming back to you just so I could bring up this comment from Mitch. He wants your thoughts on Manny being robbed of man of the match. I assume we'll be referring to Connor Barron. Was Barron your man of the match as well? And would you say that Manny was close behind?
So I heard and telly that Raskin got man of the match. Was Barron the sponsors man of the match? Was he?
I don't know. He's my man of the match.
I thought to be fair, obviously Raskin with the goal and Manny with the goal. It probably would have been between the two of them. I just thought Barron was outstanding.
Barron
but
with
Manny,
2 assists.
Yeah, Barron got 2 assists, so I had Barron down myself. But great that we have this conversation. There's been so many games this season when you're trying to pick out one player who's had a half decent game. But yeah, listen, to be honest with you, Mitch, I don't care. I thought Manny was outstanding. Not just his goal, and especially in the last 25 minutes, he made 2 outstanding blocks. 2 outstanding blocks. The second one, I think he's managed to knock it back off the Aberdeen striker and get us a goal kick. But the first one, I thought that was a goal, and he's managed to be in the right place and chested away for a corner, I think. So, yeah, to be honest, Mitch, I don't care because we have won the game and so many good performances to choose from. But Barron was still my man of the match, though.
Yeah, I think it's always a plus when you can pick out multiple players to give a shout out to when you're talking about man of the match. Well, one of the things we do on the for our members is we do a Golden Player of the Month, and we binned Player of the Month last month because it was so dire. But I think this month we'll have much more to choose from. So do stay tuned at the end of January for that one. I'll take a moment now just to thank our sponsor, Bluebell's Bar, even at Porta del Carmen in Lanzarote. You can go down there for a quiet night or one of their party evenings, family friendly food and drink. And of course, they show all the Rangers games, so you don't have to miss anything while you're out and about. Tell them you Rangers Journal sent you, and was it you, Colin, that was there recently? Am I remembering that correctly?
I was.
So you can tell them how lovely it is.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic place, Porta del Carmen, and you got Bluebells at the end of the strip, and it's just a fantastic place to be, and what a place to watch Rangers games abroad. Kenny and the team look after you so well, and yeah, just a fantastic place, great atmosphere, great people. What more could you want? And then when the game's finished and you've had a few food, whatever, head out onto the beach. What more could you ask for?
Well, I could definitely use a bit of sun because I'm starting to feel the cold now, so I'll take that. But yes, the only people feeling the cold this evening were Aberdeen, as the Rangers 2-0 victory, and so now we move on to the opposite fixture. Obviously on Sunday we now go to up there to play. Do you go into that game confident, Stevie? I think it'll probably be a slightly tougher game. Being at their place, but. I'd like to think that we can go there and basically just replicate that again and come back hopefully with another 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be a more difficult tie, absolutely. But I'd approach it the way we approached the second half at Parkhead at the weekend. Real high intensity tempo for the first whistle, and get an early goal like we did tonight, and just really kind of set a marker down and maintain our discipline. I don't want to see anybody getting sent off or making it more difficult for ourselves. So just everybody. They are better players and they're showing that now. So just keep that consistency. Another one. I expect us to win, but it probably will be a more difficult game. But yeah, just maintain the performance that they're doing. And just quickly, I really hope we get a few in, because if we do support and bolster the squad and Danny Rowe maintains this win ratio, Rangers will be champions.
Absolutely. They mentioned it a number of times this evening. Rangers have gotten the most points of any team since Danny Rowe has come in, and if we continue that, Colin, as Stevie says, we'll definitely be in and about that title come the business end of the season, and to be sitting here second, 3 points off top. It really is a bit of a New Year's miracle, given where we were, and I think. As much as there's, as we said, there's things to improve, we still need players in. I'm cautiously optimistic that we might actually have a manager that can really take us places.
Yeah, no qualms or concerns about the manager whatsoever. I think we've got the best man in charge we could possibly have. So full faith in him. I don't want to be party pooper. I'm still not getting ahead of ourselves in terms of the league. I think there's so much work to be done. He needs to be back this window if we're going to go and win the title, because it's already been touched upon. The subs are coming on. You're just looking and you're thinking, if we got a couple of injuries, if Mikey Moore got injured, if a Raskin got injured, if I don't know why can't believe I'm saying this, but if a Chermiti got injured, I'd be really concerned. So I think that, a lot of work needs to be done in the window. Sunday, by the way, totally different game. Listen, it was really comfortable tonight. It was the ideal performance, clean sheet, 2 goals. Sunday up there is going to be totally different. They might have a new manager in. I am seeing that Stephen Robinson's been linked. If for example they had him in before the end of the week, totally different game. The atmosphere, being away, it's always difficult going up there. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if you guys have considered this yet, Doug, but tactically, I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Rowe goes back to the back 3, back 5, just to give us a bit more stability at the back. I think there was probably enough in that game, particularly in the second half. Could just have been the way the game went with us being 2 ahead, but I think there would have been enough in that second half for him to have some concerns over the defensive side, because Aberdeen are more likely to come out and attack us up there on Sunday. So that being the case, there should be on the flip side and the positive side for us, there should be a lot more space for us to attack in the final third. So yeah, let's hope we can get 3 points on Sunday. If we can get 3 points up there on Sunday and have 2 wins against Aberdeen, who are notoriously one of our most difficult opposition every single season, no matter how they're doing the league, I think you'll have a lot more Rangers fans then starting to believe that we might just be able to do this.
Absolutely. There was some concerns at one point. We were making a sub and Kieran Dowell's face appeared on screen and I could physically feel the chill go across the Rangers support. So please Rangers, get a few bodies in.
By the way, Doug, sorry to interrupt. How on earth was that Kjartansson in the midfield not booked tonight? I don't think I've ever seen a midfielder commit so many fouls. I think he was on 4 fouls and then he pulled Asgard back and Nick Waugh still didn't go to his pocket. And you just think,
and then I think his mate got booked in because he looked like him afterwards.
Unbelievable. I mean, you go back to Saturday when Asgard got booked for his first foul after 2 minutes. Anyway, we won the game. I'm just moaning.
Well, that's I'll wrap us up there. A nice, comfortable victory this evening. Some nice bits of play. Nothing really much happened in the second half. We made some subs. We did play some good football in the second half, I will say, but lacking a bit of cutting edge that hopefully 1 or 2 new players will fix. Big thanks to Stevie and Colin for joining me this evening. Thanks everyone in the comments for getting involved as always. We'll be back throughout the week with more content for you. I'm back on Thursday, I think, for the Q&A, so do tune in for that. Obviously we march on to Sunday for hopefully another 3 points and the continued push to keep up this title challenge, which we are miraculously in. Game after game, point after point. Let's keep it going, Rangers, and just remember that every night it's a Rangers Journal night. Cheers, guys.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.